The silence in the zoo's great ape enclosure is a piercing scream that no one can hear. Far below the viewing platform, on the cold, unforgiving concrete, lies the tiny, motionless body of a 3-year-old boy. A colossal shadow falls over him, a living mountain of muscle and dark fur. It is Binti, the powerful matriarch gorilla, whose very presence has frozen the blood of every terrified onlooker. Her knuckles, thick as ancient tree roots, graze the ground as she inches closer. Each movement is an eternity of shared panic, a slow-motion nightmare unfolding before a helpless audience. The entire world seems to hold its breath, bracing for the inevitable, tragic conclusion that feels only a heartbeat away, a collision of two worlds that was never meant to happen. Binti's dark, intelligent eyes survey the scene, processing the sudden disruption to her territory. She feels the waves of fear radiating from the humans behind the glass barrier, a frantic energy she recognizes but does not share. Her gaze shifts from the panicked faces to the small, crumpled form on the ground. It is an anomaly, a fragile thing that does not belong in this place of stone and steel. Inside her powerful chest, a complex mix of curiosity and a deep, primal instinct stirs. She is the keeper of this domain, the protector of her family. This small, silent creature is now part of that domain, and her response will be dictated not by aggression, but by an ancient code of order and authority that the terrified humans cannot possibly comprehend. The crowd is a single, horrified entity, their faces pressed against the thick safety glass that now feels as thin as paper. A collective murmur of helplessness ripples through them as they watch the massive ape loom over the child. The boy, Leo, remains terrifyingly still, a small bundle of brightly colored clothing stark against the drab gray floor. The 20-foot fall has rendered him unconscious, completely unaware of the giant guardian examining him. For his parents, and for everyone watching, time has fractured. Each second stretches into an agonizing minute as they are forced to witness what they believe are the final moments before an unspeakable act of violence, powerless to intervene in the drama unfolding just feet away. Binti lowers her head, the scent of the strange, small being filling her senses. It smells of fear, but also of something else, innocence. She is now directly over him, her immense shadow completely eclipsing his small body from the afternoon sun. The crowd gasps, a unified sound of despair. This is the moment they all feared. Her powerful hands, capable of snapping bamboo-like twigs, are just inches from the child's fragile head. The potential for devastation is absolute, the tension unbearable. The world watched, certain of the horror to come. But to understand how we arrived at this heart-stopping precipice, we must go back to the moments just before the chaos erupted. Just moments before, the air in the sun-drenched zoo was filled with a symphony of joyful sounds. Children's laughter mixing with the distant calls of exotic birds. 3-year-old Leo, a whirlwind of energy in a bright red shirt, was completely captivated. He stood pressed against the safety glass of the great ape enclosure, his small hands leaving smudges on the barrier that separated his world from another. For him, the gorillas were not just animals, they were majestic, living mountains of quiet power. His eyes were fixed on Binti, the serene matriarch who sat observing her family with a calm authority. To Leo, she was a queen in her castle, and his entire universe had momentarily shrunk to the space between them, a world of silent, mutual fascination that no one else could see or understand. From her vantage point, Binti noticed the small human. Unlike the fleeting glances of other visitors, this one's gaze was steady, filled with an intense and innocent curiosity. She felt no threat from him, only a pure, unbroken focus that was unusual. Her ancient, intelligent eyes met his, and for a brief, suspended moment, a connection formed across the divide. She saw not just a child, but a kindred spirit of inquisitiveness. In her mind, a quiet acknowledgement registered, a silent greeting to the tiny, vibrant being who seemed to recognize the soul behind her formidable appearance. This unspoken understanding, a simple exchange of gazes, was a fragile thread woven in the moments before chaos would descend and test its strength in the most terrifying way imaginable. The afternoon was warm, and the crowd ebbed and flowed like a gentle tide. Leo's mother, momentarily distracted by a question from her husband, loosened her grip on his hand for only a second. But a second was an eternity for a child driven by pure wonder. To Leo, the low railing was not a warning, but a ladder to a better view. In a flash of impulsive, toddler logic, he scrambled upwards, his small sneakers finding purchase on the decorative rocks. The world behind him, the world of his parents and safety, simply vanished from his mind. There was only the desire to get closer, to bridge the gap between himself and the magnificent creatures. His mother's head turned back, her smile fading into a mask of pure horror as she saw him teetering on the edge. Her scream was a blade that sliced through the peaceful atmosphere, but it was too late. Leo's small body tipped forward, his balance lost in an instant. The world became a dizzying, terrifying blur of green foliage and gray concrete rushing up to meet him. It was a nearly 20-foot fall, a silent, terrifying descent that ended with a soft, sickening thud. The happy sounds of the zoo were instantly replaced by a wave of panicked shouts and a single, sustained cry of a mother's anguish. The fragile barrier between the human world and the wild domain of the gorillas had not just been crossed, it had been shattered. But the impact on the unforgiving concrete was only the beginning of the nightmare. As a new, more immediate danger began to stir within the enclosure, the scene snaps back to the present, the fragile piece of the flashback shattering into a million pieces of immediate, heart-stopping terror. Binti remains a dark, mountainous guardian over Leo's small form, her presence an unreadable mystery. But the danger has mutated, growing into something far more volatile. From the other side of the enclosure, a younger, more aggressive male gorilla named Coco, agitated by the piercing screams and the disruption to his routine, begins to charge. His movements are not curious or deliberate. They are jerky, fueled by a surge of adrenaline and territorial instinct. The zookeepers, now visible in the distance, scramble with a desperate urgency, but they are separated by an impossible gulf of concrete and steel, their intervention a lifetime away. The crowd's collective gasp turns into a choked, silent prayer as they realize the nightmare has just found a new, more terrifying chapter. Coco is a force of raw, untempered power, his mind a storm of confusion and aggression. He doesn't see a helpless child, he sees an intruder, a disruption to the established order of his world that must be confronted and expelled. His powerful legs propel him forward in a ground-shaking lope, his dark eyes fixed on the strange, small creature lying at the feet of his matriarch. He interprets the crowd's panic not as fear for the boy, but as a reaction to this breach of territory, which only fuels his own agitation. For the onlookers behind the glass, the focus of their fear shifts instantly. Binti was an unknown, a powerful question mark, but Coco is a clear and present danger, a living embodiment of the violence they had all dreaded from the very beginning. On the cold concrete, Leo stirs. A faint, almost inaudible moan escapes his lips, and his small hand twitches, a tiny, involuntary signal of life. This fragile movement, which should be a sign of hope, instead acts as a lit fuse in the volatile atmosphere. The motion catches Coco's eye, sharpening his focus and intensifying his approach. His pace quickens. To his primal mind, the movement is a challenge, a confirmation that this strange being is not a passive object but an active invader. The crowd sees the twitch, and a wave of fresh horror washes over them. They understand, with a chilling certainty, that this small sign of life may have just sealed the boy's fate, transforming a potential tragedy into an imminent one. The clock is no longer just ticking, it is screaming. The zookeepers are trapped in a procedural nightmare, their training and expertise rendered useless by the chaos. They shout commands and use noisemakers, attempting to divert Coco's attention, but their efforts are swallowed by the cavernous space and the wall of public panic. They have tranquilizer rifles at the ready, but the shot is impossible. Coco is moving too fast, and Binti's massive body shields the child, creating a high-risk scenario where a missed or misplaced dart could strike the wrong target, escalating the situation beyond anyone's control. Each failed attempt to intervene reinforces their, and the crowd's, utter powerlessness. They are forced to become what they fear most, mere spectators to a disaster they are trained to prevent, watching the drama unfold from behind an insurmountable barrier. Binti feels the vibrations of Coco's charge through the soles of her feet. She registers his aggressive energy, a familiar and unwelcome challenge to her authority. Her internal focus shifts instantly from a state of cautious curiosity about the boy to one of resolute, matriarchal command. She doesn't move, but her entire posture becomes a silent, immovable declaration of control. A deep, primal instinct, honed over years of leading her troop, rises within her. She understands that Coco's aggression is a threat not only to the fragile creature at her feet, but to the very stability of her family. The situation is no longer a simple encounter with an anomaly. It has become a test of her leadership, a moment where the law of her domain must be unequivocally asserted. The air crackles with tension as Coco closes the distance, stopping just a few yards away. He rises to his full height, a terrifying spectacle of muscle and fury, and unleashes a short, sharp bark, a direct challenge to Binti's authority over the intruder. He then pounds his chest, a rapid, thundering drumbeat that echoes off the concrete walls like cannon fire. The crowd flinches, a unified body recoiling from the sheer auditory violence of the display. The zookeepers hold their breath, recognizing the gesture as the final warning before an attack. Binti remains a stoic shield, her calm a stark contrast to the male's explosive rage. Time was running out. Something had to be done, or all would be lost. It was in that deafening silence, punctuated only by Coco's thundering heartbeat, that something shifted deep within Binti. Her gaze, which had been a calm assessment of the scene, now hardened with a sudden, resolute clarity. The internal conflict, the pull between territorial instinct and a strange, burgeoning sense of duty, vanished, replaced by an unwavering purpose. She saw the charging male, a storm of uncontrolled aggression. She saw the small, broken form on the ground, a symbol of ultimate vulnerability. And she felt the tidal wave of human terror, a chaotic energy that threatened the stability of her world. In her mind, a conscious decision crystallized, not from instinct alone, but from a profound understanding of her role as a matriarch. This fragile creature was now under her jurisdiction. It had to be protected. Then she moved. It wasn't a sudden, aggressive charge, but a deliberate, almost graceful pivot that defied her immense size. With a calm that sent a ripple of disbelief through the onlookers, she rose and took 2 powerful steps, placing her colossal body squarely between Coco and the child. She became a living wall, a shield of dark fur and unyielding muscle. The action was silent, devoid of any threat, yet it was an absolute declaration of intent. Her back was now to the charging male, a gesture of supreme confidence and dismissal. The entire dynamic of the enclosure shifted in that one fluid motion. The aggressor was no longer the focus. The protector was. The world watched as the narrative they had written in their minds was torn apart. Facing Coco, Binti's eyes held no fear, only an ancient and unbreakable authority. A low, deep grunt rumbled from her chest, a sound that was less an act of aggression and more a statement of law. It was a vibration that traveled through the concrete, a clear, unambiguous command aimed directly at her own kind. The message was unmistakable in their primal language. This territory, and everything in it, is mine to command. This small one is under my protection. You will go no further. Coco, his chest still heaving from his display, froze instantly. He had challenged his matriarch and had been met not with fury, but with an immovable wall of quiet power that he knew he could not breach. An invisible line had been drawn. For the humans pressed against the glass, the transformation was breathtaking. In that single, decisive action and the command that followed, Binti was no longer just an animal. She was a guardian. The raw fear that had paralyzed the crowd began to melt away, replaced by a profound and overwhelming sense of awe. They were witnessing an act of clear, intelligent intervention, a choice to protect the weakest among them at great personal risk. Binti had made her decision, and in doing so she had claimed the small boy as her own responsibility. She had become his unlikely champion, defying every expectation of her wild nature. What happened next would challenge everything they thought they knew about the line between animal and protector. With Coco frozen in submission, the world seemed to fall into a deep, profound silence. Time itself fractured, slowing to a crawl as if the universe was holding its breath. Binti turned her massive head, her dark, intelligent eyes shifting from the subdued male to the fragile boy on the ground. Every muscle in her powerful body moved with an impossible, deliberate grace. The aggressive tension that had radiated from her moments before dissipated like mist, replaced by an aura of solemn purpose. She was no longer a warrior defending territory. She had become a guardian approaching a sacred charge. The onlookers, their faces pale against the glass, watched this transformation with a mixture of disbelief and dawning wonder, realizing they were witnessing something far beyond the realm of simple animal instinct. She took a single, ground-covering step, her soft, leathery footpads making no sound on the cold concrete. Her immense hand, a tool of incredible power, with knuckles like polished stones, uncurled slowly. The fingers, thick and gnarled from a lifetime of navigating her world, straightened with a tenderness that seemed utterly alien to such a formidable creature. Her shadow fell over Leo's small body once more, but it was no longer a menacing shroud. It was a blanket of protection, a deliberate shield against the harsh sun and the panicked world outside. In her mind, the chaos of the humans and the challenge from Coco faded into a single, focused thought. This small, silent being was broken, and it was her duty to mend the disruption, to restore a fragile peace. Then came the first touch, a moment stretched into an eternity. Binti's index finger, wider than Leo's arm, extended with painstaking slowness. It hovered over his pale cheek for a heartbeat before descending. There was no pressure, no force, just the light, inquisitive caress of her rough, callous skin against his impossibly soft flesh. The crowd gasped as one, a soft, unified sound of pure astonishment. She was not testing for a threat. She was checking for life, for warmth, with a gentleness that defied every preconceived notion of her power. It was a gesture of profound, empathetic curiosity, a silent question asked in a language that every heart, human or ape, could understand. In that single, delicate contact, the line between beast and protector dissolved completely. With a deep, resonant rumble that vibrated through the air, a sound of comfort, not aggression, she carefully slid her enormous left hand beneath the boy's small back. Her right hand moved to cradle his head, her fingers cupping his skull, as if he were a newborn bird. With a fluid, powerful motion, she lifted him from the unforgiving concrete and drew him close to her broad, warm chest. She adjusted her grip, ensuring his limp body was fully supported, his head nestled securely in the crook of her arm. The image was surreal, a living paradox, a creature of immense strength cradling a symbol of ultimate vulnerability. She held him there for a moment, rocking gently, a silent, maternal promise that the danger had passed, and he was now safe within her care. Holding Leo securely, Binti rose to her full, majestic height. She turned her back on Coco and the rest of her troop, her focus absolute. She began to walk, not with haste, but with a slow, deliberate, and purposeful stride. Her destination was clear to the astonished zookeepers who watched, their tranquilizer guns now lowered in awe. She was heading directly for the enclosure's service door, the single metallic entry point where the human world could safely meet hers. Each step was a measured, regal beat in a solemn procession. She was not retreating or surrendering her charge. She was actively and intelligently bridging the gap between their worlds, carrying the fragile peace offering that would end the terrifying standoff. It was a conscious act of delivery, a transfer of trust. Upon reaching the cold steel door, Binti did not drop the child. She knelt with the same impossible grace she had shown throughout, lowering her massive frame to the ground. She gently, meticulously, laid Leo down on the concrete threshold, his small body positioned just outside the boundary of her domain. Her hand lingered for a moment, a final protective touch on his chest, before she withdrew. She then looked up, her deep, ancient eyes meeting those of the headkeeper. In that shared gaze, an entire conversation unfolded, a silent acknowledgement of the trust she had placed in them. The first human hands reached out, and as they carefully lifted the boy, a collective sigh of cathartic relief swept through the crowd, a sound of a miracle witnessed and a life saved. Weeks later, the afternoon sun once again warms the zoo, but the atmosphere at the Great Ape Enclosure is forever changed. A quiet reverence has replaced the boisterous crowds. There, standing before the glass, is Leo, his small hand held securely in his mother's. He shows no fear, only a profound and silent recognition. In his other hand, he holds up a crayon drawing of a large, smiling gorilla. On the other side of the barrier, Binti sits, her powerful form relaxed. Her gaze meets his, and a low, soft rumble emanates from her chest, a sound of acknowledgement, a private greeting between a boy and his guardian. The fall had been a terrifying accident, but the bond it forged was a deliberate miracle, a testament to a connection that defied all laws of nature and man. From Binti's perspective, the world has settled back into its familiar rhythm, yet she is keenly aware of the shift. The humans watch her differently now, their fear replaced by a quiet awe she can feel through the glass. The memory of the incident is not a scar of chaos, but a mark of her authority and purpose. She sees the small boy, vibrant and whole, and feels a deep, instinctual satisfaction. The disruption was mended, the order restored by her own hand. Her troop senses her unwavering calm, her status as matriarch solidified not by aggression, but by an act of profound control and mercy. She is the keeper of this domain, and her legacy is now written in the story of the fragile creature she chose to protect rather than harm. The story of Binti and Leo became a global phenomenon, a viral testament to unexpected grace. News outlets broadcast the footage not as a terrifying animal encounter, but as a powerful lesson in compassion. Binti, the gorilla the world was conditioned to fear, was now a symbol of empathy, her actions forcing a global conversation about the consciousness of the creatures with whom we share our planet. Her intervention was more than a primal instinct. It was a choice. It was a mirror held up to humanity, reflecting that true strength isn't measured by the capacity for violence, but by the gentle restraint shown in the face of absolute vulnerability. The line between human and animal had been beautifully and irrevocably blurred for all to see. Today, their silent reunion is a powerful final chapter. The glass between them is no longer a barrier separating two different worlds, but a window connecting two souls who share an unspoken understanding. Binti's story is a profound reminder that courage, empathy, and the instinct to protect the innocent are not exclusive to humankind. They are the universal language of life itself. The greatest lessons are often taught not in classrooms but in the quiet, decisive moments where one being chooses to save another. Do you also believe animals can teach us about love? Share your story in the comments and subscribe for more moments that restore faith in the world around us.